Welcome to the I Work For Me podcast. I'm Melina Lewis, an author, marketer, yoga teacher, and mom, and I'm passionate about people who have created their own business opportunities and who love the freedom of working for themselves. Welcome to the I Work For Me podcast. I'm Melina Lewis, and today we have Yael Geffen with us, which is extremely exciting because she's a dynamic woman. She is not only a CEO to a huge corporation, she is also a professional speaker. She also dabbles in investment property, and she is a powerhouse coach. So I'm very excited to have her in-house and to pick her brain and learn how she manages to kind of juggle all these balls. So, Yael, welcome, and thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much. You really make me look and feel so good. So
Well, you are.
when you listed all those things, I was like, wow, I'd like to meet her.
You are her. Just look at the mirror.
Yeah.
Great. Yael, tell us, what was it that you wanted to be, or the first thing that you can remember wanting to be as a kid?
Sure. So I've got this two sides to my personality, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, in the sense that I'm extremely creative, but I'm also very structured at the same time. It's a bizarre mix.
No.
And unless the one is being fed, I'm out of balance. I actually have to be doing both. So I remember dressing up as a belly dancer for a few parties, and I can roll my stomach since I was young. So that's a little party trick that I know of. If it doesn't pan out for COVID, you might catch me in some hookah lounge somewhere, you know. And then I did also want to become a game ranger, but it just seemed like a lot of work. So, but I love animals and the wild. So I think a mixture between a belly ranger, if that makes sense. Yes, something like that.
I love that idea of a belly ranger. You could definitely do a kids show called the Belly Rangers, and they could be like little Teletubbies running around and saving rhinos.
I'm telling you, and if the rhino comes and it's like freaked out, you just start like rolling your belly, and then it's all hypnotized.
I love it. Oh, that's classic. Okay, we might have to like stop the show and create that now. But before we let our imagination run away, tell me about all the things that you do and kind of how you manage to do everything.
So the word manage is a very tricky
Relative.
word. So, I mean, right now, and I'll be very honest with you, I am suffering quite a bit of burnout, a bit of parental burnout, and it's COVID, work burnout, but I know that I'm not alone, and I'm quite proud about speaking up about it because it encourages others to speak up about a very important topic because we shouldn't really be feeling this way. But having said that, this is what I do. So I'm the CEO and a shareholder for Sotheby's International Realty South Africa. So it's a real estate brokerage nationwide.
Right.
And we have plus minus 500 agents around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's affiliated to a global brand, which is the Sotheby's Auction House, which started then Sotheby's International Realty. So it's a beautiful brand. I know you're a brand lady.
Yeah, it's a beautiful brand.
Oh, it's a beautiful brand. I feel very privileged to work under that brand.
Yeah.
And then I decided with COVID, I hate the word side hustle. I absolutely hate it. There needs to be another word. And hopefully by the end of the show, maybe we can come up
conjure one up.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I realized how CEOs and leaders in their fields have a real opportunity to speak and garner even greater credibility and more meaningful relationships and have a downstream offering of their actual core business, and it works really well. So you'll see like the professional speaking circuit has a lot more business leaders lately, and I looked at this and I thought this is an avenue I would really like to go into because I'm very passionate. My trademark talk is called Make It Without Faking It.
Wow.
And it's all about developing authentic confidence, because we go onto LinkedIn and all the social media and what people call themselves, from serial entrepreneurs or 8-time entrepreneur. How can you be an 8-time? It's like saying I'm an 8-time human. I don't understand that. You're an entrepreneur. Then there's one, an agitator. Well, I'm also an agitator. I'm married and I agitate daily. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've gotten crazy with names and I'm humbled and all this rubbish. I mean,
Yeah.
you've just got to be authentically confident. And what people don't realize is how self-inflation is actually the enemy of effective self-promotion. But the problem is we all think we need to do it. We all think we need to do it because we've seen so and so do it. So I kind of go to war with that and the crisis of confidence that we're all having, which is very exciting. I think it's a very needed talk, because authentic leaders really are paving the way here, and I like to lead from that place. So that's my speaking career.
Divine.
And then yeah, it's exciting. And then just to add to the mix, I'm getting my qualification in coaching as
Right.
a feminine power coach. It's a global program by Dr. Claire Zammit,
Right.
and it's wonderful. It's really, as a woman, empowered me so much, and I've become a better human, a better boss, and I've become authentically confident as a result of this. So it all goes into tow. And also help business leaders consult with them in terms of leading their people, authentic confidence, leading from the inside out. And
Mm.
then I've got I'm trying to dabble in when I say trying, I mean, I'm the CEO of a property company, but I'm giving investment properties a bit of a go. So it's
Great.
a great time to buy,
Very
the
good.
best time to buy.
Mm.
So if you've got cash lying around, buy or
Mm.
give it to me, I'll buy for you. Uh, because the market is going to change. So I'm really busy. And when you say manage, I don't know. I think balance is just such an overrated term, in the sense that I don't have balance. I really don't. And, when I was thinking about how I worked last night, at 2:30 in the morning, I go through real ebbs and flows. Like, I go through a high where I'm creative and I'm productive and I'm busy and I'm effective. And then for a week or two, I'll just be chilled and exhausted and just need a break. But that's my rhythm. Not everyone's rhythm is the same. And if I don't honor that rhythm, that's when I reach a real burnout mode.
Mm. Yes, I can totally relate to that, where it's kind of like push, 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 and then eventually then there's a slump. And I often kind of want to push myself out of that and keep going, but you can't. And your
You
brain is like, no, I do
Yeah.
not want to anymore. And your body is like, no, I do not want to anymore. You just need to
Yeah.
slow the hell down for a little bit. And then
Yeah.
eventually, if you, as you say, honor that process, then you will eventually slowly, slowly pick up and up you climb again. And then you are kind of producing, creating, and making things happen.
That's the thing. I wish I was one of those people that was consistent, like that did the
Like a man.
same amount. That's not how I work,
No.
And like you say, if you don't honor that space, when I'm in that slump and I'm challenging myself, come on, you can do it. I'll read, a line like 700 times. I'll be like, okay, no, it's just not, it's not working. Yeah, I'm like that too. And maybe that comes with being creative as well. You've
Yeah.
got to feed it the energy.
Yeah, I think it might have to. So, just in terms of what you were describing about what you do, I picked up that you have obviously gone through some kind of process in terms of finding your voice, I think, in terms of speaking, and then also in terms of going through this coaching process and obviously learning very much more about yourself as we do throughout life. So, can you tell us, was there something that ignited that shift? Or was it what led you on this path to kind of find that voice and kind of dig deeper?
So last year, October, actually, I was a little bit flat. And I came across Dr. Claire Zamet's, it was a sponsored ad on social media. And she encouraged, she spoke about, if you're a self-actualizing woman at the moment, life is really difficult in the sense that we're not actualizing our potential. We're not harnessing into our intellectually and what we're actually born to do. And I just felt like something was missing. And I listened to this, and I actually started the 7-week course for the awakening woman. And I woke up. And I just, the key principles were so intriguing to me. I realized I was carrying a lot of stuff, not only generationally being a woman, but
Mm.
there was a lot of kind of, there are three kind of power blocks that I was facing. And one is shame-based meaning. So, you have a sense of going to that place of shame. I mean, I got a divorce, and I carried shame, and I was only one of the two that were in the divorce. But
Yeah.
I think women tend to carry shame a lot. And then there is scarcity thinking, where
Mm.
you think, oh gosh, there's not enough. There's a lack, and that was a massive shift for me, because I think specifically in the real estate industry, it's very male dominated.
Mm.
And I love to celebrate other people's success. And it's a very competitive industry, and most of the leaders are not that way. They're very competitive. And competition is great,
Yeah.
but it's got to be very personal. And one of the analogies that I loved was just about beating your own personal best, and cheering on everyone else alongside you, because I'm a person that did tend to compare myself a lot to others. Oh, so and so is doing this. And then I realized, hey, this is my journey. Why am I spending my film as the director on looking at someone else as the actor? I'm the actor, I'm the protagonist here.
Mm.
And yeah, so I just looked at those key principles. And then the third aspect is resources, a lack of resources. And I realized, sheesh, in the olden days, it used to take a village to raise a child. And the things that we're doing as mothers, as fathers, as parents, and working, and we've never done so much. Now we're adding side hustles. I mean, like, what are we thinking? It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
It is crazy.
But we're so unsupported in terms of resources. And I realized that I hadn't ever really asked for help. I've always been I'm fine, no, it's cool, I can do it, da, da, da. And then you get all burnt out and you're broken and shattered, and you realize, hey, I can ask for help, I can create resources. So after doing that 7-week course, I actually felt like a resourced, abundant human being that had a lot of authentic confidence. And I wanted to share this with the world. And in doing so, I realized I had a unique voice. And that's how it all started. So personal transformation from the inside created this outside shift, which has been really exciting.
So exciting. I'm a big fan of personal growth. And when people call it self-help, my husband's like, are you reading another self-help book? And he'll like curl his nose up and he's like, ew. And I'm like, no, this is great. It's got this idea and that idea. And so I'm a big fan of kind of working on yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. And so you can either stay as you are, or you could like evolve. So congratulations on your journey. I think that's really awesome. And it shows in terms of kind of where you're at the moment. I mean, just, kind of going through COVID, your business it must have taken a knock, right?
So for 2 months, and this is again the funny thing, because I think to myself, recently I was judging myself for being so tired. Why am I so tired? Why am I so burnt out? And then I realized, hold on a second. For 2 months, the real estate industry came to a standstill because all the deeds offices were closed. Offices were closed. There were no transactions. We weren't allowed to work, and there were no registrations. So we have 500 agents around the country who weren't earning a living. And
Oh,
what happened is I'm really great in a time of crisis. I don't know. I was like born to lead in crisis because everyone's freaking out around me and I'm like so calm and I'm like, we'll do this, we'll do this. It's just, I see so clearly. So for those 2 months, me and my team, or my team and I, were working 18-hour days, providing value and support and motivation and tools and preparing everyone for when the ban was going to lift. And we prepared them so well that our business is ending on a profit this year, which is
wow.
awesome. It's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah. And the sales have been bumper to bumper to bumper months the last 3 months. And I was actually at one of my franchise business owners, and they new owners for the Rudapert franchise in the Johannesburg area. And they invited me to a launch that they were doing for the Rudapert office. And they have had cracker opening months. And they actually thanked me and said it was how driven we were from head office and our leadership in actually saying, guys, this is not a time for you to relax and watch TV.
No.
It's you got to work now harder than ever. Whatever you're going to manifest later is going to come from now. And she said, you made us work, Yael. You kicked our butts while everyone else was relaxing. And look, and then I thought to myself, no wonder I'm so exhausted. I was like, okay, I have a reason. Yes, I remember that. I do remember that. It was such a hectic time. So COVID has been, in terms of business leadership, it's been the greatest gift for me. I've
Mm.
never felt closer to my team or my franchisees or business owners, managers. It's really pulled us all together, especially to our international comrades at Sotheby's International Realty. We're all so much closer. But yeah, there was a lot of up and down, hey.
Mm.
But that's the time. That's the time to really not rest on your laurels. And it did work out for us, which was great.
Yeah, and I think that that is so important because I must say, when during lockdown, I kept on hearing people saying, oh, I'm so bored. And I was like, I can't even conceptualize being bored when you can sit down and like work so productively, for a whole day. Like it didn't even make any sense. And I get the sense that you are similar when you kind of like, right, there's time. Let's go. Let's make stuff happen. Let's move the needle. Let's prepare for, because it's not going to stay like this forever. What's it going to look like on the other side, and how can we make that happen? Yeah,
Absolutely.
you also mentioned manifesting. So people throw, if they want to be all woo-woo, like to kind of throw out manifestation. So talk to us about your perspective on manifestation and how you do that, because you spoke about it within the business context. So you weren't manifesting a new BMW, you were manifesting for your team within the business. So how do you go on that process, and yeah, how would you recommend people do that too?
So it's funny because when you said like a woo-woo term, I was just thinking, oh boy, I'm sure on LinkedIn we're going to start seeing titles as Master Manifested. Do you know what I mean? It's life pilot. It's just gonna. I can't wait for the world to hear this talk because I just think we're all going to laugh at ourselves and realize, okay, we need to change because what we're handing over to the next generation is rubbish. So we've got to fix it now.
Yeah.
So how do I? Okay. So for me, it's interesting. I manifest things very easily if I write them down.
Mm.
It's the writing down that takes the guts for me, because once I write down something goes into my brain where it actually is like real. And something that I learned actually recently from from this empowering or feminine power course is all about horizon lines. And it's such a simple concept, but we don't really do it. And where I used to go wrong is I used to look too far. I used to almost see 3 years time,
Right.
And I've learned how to break it down into honestly 3 month increments,
Mhm.
3, 6, 9 months, 12 months. And since I've done that, it's so wonderful because you judge your progress a lot less,
Yes.
and you really backing yourself, and you've got tangible outcomes.
Okay.
And I mean, that's exactly what happened with the speaker. The speaker, I did a speaker course, and I said within 3 months, I'm going to have a keynote talk, and then then I'll market it. And setting yourself bite-sized horizon lines has been a real saver for me. And
Right.
anyone who I speak to about this concept says, she's, it's interesting because I always say success. It's interesting. What happens is it's just when you realize, oh, it's that week prior to you giving something up,
Mm.
that is the week that pivots. If you just hang in there and push, it's normally a week or two later that the whole thing shifts. And I've seen that also in my coaching other people. I coach an artist who's actually exploded onto the scene. Her name's
Oh,
Jasmine Jagger. This is her artwork behind me.
it's
She's
beautiful. I
fabulous.
love it. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
She is fabulous.
Yeah.
And she also, it's so interesting because I was coaching her, and literally a week before she exploded onto the scene, she said, I don't know, I don't think it's going to happen. And I was like, don't give up, give more. This is the week, Jazz. Push, 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 because this is where everyone loses their momentum and just kind of falls back. And mark my words, the very next week, the Zeitz Mocker contacted her and said, we'd like to exhibit your pieces. And she said, how do you know? I know. She said, how do you know? I said, I'm telling you, it's experience. So now when I feel that slumpy week now, I'm like, don't give up, give more, give more, give more, push, because it really tilts. And it's a mindset thing. I think that's what the world's best entrepreneurs do. They just carry on despite the lack that they're feeling, despite
Yeah.
perhaps the failure, despite what other people are saying, they just carry on.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I've got these like post-it notes up on my one wall where I put lovely little sayings. And I'm gonna definitely add, don't give up, give more. And it's so true. It's so true. That thing where you just want to throw in the towel. You're like, no, this is for the birds, don't want to anymore. And that is when, yeah, don't give up, give more. Brilliant. I hope people
It's
take
that
that on.
the next week or the next month, if you carry on, that the magic happens.
Hmm.
And I've seen that in my life, and I'm seeing it in the lives around me. So yeah, it's a nice little microscript.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So don't give up, give more. And then in terms of manifesting, and how do you help your employees, your team manifest? Do you kind of have some big goal and like, we want to sell the most property and, and everyone's now looking at that going, oh, or now are you taking that and then breaking that down into smaller chunks? Okay, so we need to sell X by this amount of time. And, like, yeah, how do you manage the manifestation in a team environment?
Sure. So it's difficult to predict. Property has been so volatile. I mean, we
Hmm.
came off the back of a technical recession, and then there was COVID. I mean, hello,
Hello.
hello, are you listening? So, what my team does is we service our business owners. We have a franchise model, and
Okay.
we have franchise licenses across the country, and their success is our success. So from a marketing point of view, an operations point of view, from a leadership point of view, from helping them with their targets, their sales, their conversions, we set goals and we have reviews with them.
Right.
But in terms of my direct employment, what we like to do is have strategy meetings, and normally we have them in the beginning of the year, and we just had one 2 weeks ago actually, but it was more of an emotional strategy meeting. It was more of a deeper connection because our brains were so fried
Yeah.
that I said, let's just focus on a few key things, but it was more about getting to know each other deeper. So I can get a bit woo woo and
Great.
bring out the ascended Mastercards and all this stuff. And my team's just like, oh boy, here she goes again. But they buy into it. And it's interesting. The teamwork and the connection naturally pushes us into the next realm of delivering to our clients. So that's kind of what we do. And then in the new year, we reassess our goals. We have a lot of check-ins. We have a lot of monthly meetings. You've got to have those goals, but keep checking in. But I do not micromanage at all. I let my team fly, because then they're even more responsible, more accountable, and they don't want to let me down. So that really pushes them.
Well, yeah, exactly. I've worked for myself for so long because I can't do micromanagement. It drives me dilly. And every now and then you get a client who likes to micromanage you, which drives me dilly. But it's definitely, I think it is completely disempowering to micromanage people. But yet you see it so often, so often. So in working with like a big team, how is it that you came to learn to kind of let go? Because I'm curious how you learned that, because a lot of people don't.
When I realized it was defeating the greater objective of the business. So, I wouldn't say I'm a completely A-type personality, but I'm very driven. I'm very ambitious. I'm very competitive. So
Right.
get me into a game of Scrabble or 30 seconds, I become insane. I become a lunatic. Like my fiance is like, I've never seen you just get so competitive. I'm like, it's just my nature. So what was happening was I saw the disappointment in if my expectation wasn't being met. I saw the morale deficiency it had on the team, and I thought to myself, okay, there's got to be a better way. Then I realized, hold on a second, the people I've hired are better than me in all of their fields. And if you don't, as a CEO, hire people better than you, then you're a schmuck, because everyone, a president's cabinet has to be better than his, because what's that Nietzsche quote? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Totally.
And I realized, hold on, they're the experts. I need to rely on them. And when I changed this philosophy of, guys, I said to them, I don't have time now. I made it a time issue to look at each department. I need you to take ownership. I need you to step into the light, and I will protect you if things fall apart. And I had to allow balls to drop. I had to allow it. And Simon Sinek talks about this, because they will never take ownership. If you don't accept in the beginning that balls are going to drop. And if you come down on them, then it's just going to disturb that flow. And I took responsibility for any balls that dropped, and they saw how I protected them. And they then were like, I don't want to let Yael down. And each of my little experts in their field just really rose to the top of their game, because they became almost like their own mini bosses, and that worked much better. So it was a very big philosophy shift on my part, and the idea to let balls drop. And that's a very hard thing for leaders to deal with, but it's the best way. It's hard in the beginning, but you have to let go.
I know, but the fact that you were adamant that you had their back. So I feel like if you say to someone, I trust you and I've got your back, it's like you've got a follower for life. Even if they leave your company or whatever, they will always respect that you had their back. And I've worked with people who have had my back, and then I've worked with those that didn't. And my attitude towards those people as human beings is completely different. And it is so important to, as a leader, I think, to empower your team and to tell them you've got them, and then to pick up the slack when it comes, because human beings, right? Like, so sorry, but They mess up.
And with no blame and shame, with no blame and shame.
No
It's
blame.
almost like a little toddler, like, okay, you fell. Come on, let's pick you right up again and
How do we
carry
fix
on moving.
this? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then what happens is amazing, because if there is a ball that is about to drop, they normally come and say to you, Yael, we have a problem. I'm just letting you know before it happens, because they take ownership and they feel a new sense of responsibility that
Mm.
before the balls start dropping, they come to you with already a plan and how to, how we can save this and what we can do. And that's great.
Mm. Yeah, great. And there's the kind of thing. So in terms of running your business, what do you think is crucial to running your business? I know there's probably a lot of things, but what are some of those that you think is critical?
So the team itself has to trust each member 100%. When I became CEO, with, I mean, I call it the regime. It sounds like Napoleon, but really not. Anyway, I inherited a few employees that
Mhm.
didn't suit my work culture. My work culture is one of trust. It's one of
Mm.
deep transparency. It's one of sharing. It's one of a family. We really feel connected, deeply connected. And the culture was so torn apart because I had 3 or 4 really toxic employees,
Mm.
and I could see that I spent most of my time dealing with people that were coming to talk to me because they were unhappy. And it really became quite a corrupt environment, and unhealthy. And I thought to myself, rather than try and show these guys how to be a part of this culture, I'm going to create the culture. And a
Right.
very natural thing happens. When you create the culture, the people that are the team players will thrive, and
Mm.
the people that aren't will stand out like sore thumbs,
And scatter.
alienate, or leave of their own accord. And it's
Yeah.
it's so magic, because if you're focusing on, oh, how do I prevent these guys from permeating their negativity to these guys, you're just never going to get out of it. You just
Right.
create what you want, and naturally the universe takes care of everything else. And so yes, a very the culture is so key, because if the culture isn't what you want it to be, you will fail. So that's key for me.
Mm.
um I'm trying to think what else. I like to upskill my employees.
Mm. Yes.
Each of them have a passion. So my CFO is doing his MBA at the moment, which is amazing.
Great.
And
That's awesome.
yes, and my PA who started, I sent her on social media courses, and now she's managing, our social media. And
Yeah.
I don't believe in keeping people small. I believe in building them and giving them a light to shine, because that's the way to do business. And if I think about it, my graphic designer actually showed an interest in video. So I took him on a whole video course, and now he's doing all our in-house video editing, and he loves it.
Oh,
So I do believe in upskilling your staff. Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's a gift to be able to give people education. You know, my folks were they were always, we'll give you the best education we can give you, and then the rest is up to you, because no one can take your education away, you know. So what a wonderful thing to be able to give. That's really, really cool. I
And
also
that
want,
creates loyalty.
yes, and create, of course, of course, of course. Tricky though, yeah, you can't sometimes it's hard to then let people go when they want to go, because they do. But I'm sure in your position, you've seen lots of good people come and good people go, and you kind of just have to wish them well, which is also quite hard, I think, as a boss.
Yeah, I have to say I've been very lucky in the sense that I've kept them so stimulated and really listened to what their passions are. that I've kept evolving them together with where their passions lie, and rather than move them up and get someone else in to do a less senior role, because if you've got good people, you don't want to lose them. So thankfully, I haven't lost any goodies yet.
Yes,
Please
good. No.
don't do that.
Don't leave, don't leave. Just beg. Just get on hands and knees and beg them never to leave. No, I'm sure they won't. If you don't micromanage,
You don't want to.
you'll never lose people. Yeah. So if someone kind of wanted to start up a business that was in real estate, and they are maybe starting from scratch, or maybe they are a realtor in another kind of agency, how would they, what do you think is important, not in terms of the nuts and bolts of starting a business, but what is important for you in terms of how that person would start?
So if they wanted to be a real estate agent or a real estate franchise owner, which one do you want me to go?
Either, both.
Okay. So I think that a good place to start is to join a reputable brand, because it's one thing learning about the business of real estate, and it's another thing handling the marketing, brand perception, etc. So the beauty with the brand like ours is, if you're an intern or if you're a new rookie agent, you at least have the backing of the brand. You're endorsed by the brand. You don't have to worry about, phoning a client and them being like, oh, you're ABC Properties, no thanks. You don't have to deal with that. There's enough hurdles, right?
Right.
You definitely upskill yourself. So I would definitely, if I was a new agent or an intern agent, I would try and partner with a amazing mentor in that area. So I would look to learn from a guru. And the irony is, most real estate agents are mid 50s upwards. It's a very mature career.
I'm listening.
Oh, Siri, are you listening? Siri is also wanting to take part of this conversation.
I'm constantly swearing at Siri. Siri, go away.
I don't have an answer for that.
Go
Is there something else I can help with?
Hold on a second. Siri, I'm busy on a podcast. We'll deal with each other later. Sorry. Siri just came on. I don't know if you heard her talking to me or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So she was interested. So Siri and Melina, I would get my qualifications. So you learn through the Estate Agency Affairs Board. You get your NQF4 in order to become a real estate agent. I would choose a master mentor, a guru sales agent in the area, and I would choose a brand. And the brand normally will invest in your training, in your success, etc. And then I'd get going. Now it's all about relationships. So then I'd get to know the stock in the area. I would become obsessed with houses and properties and look at what stock is moving and drive the area. And the reality is, I don't believe in hard selling. I don't think that you garner relationships that way. The best relationships, sales relationships I've ever had, has started from a place of deep connection and care. And then the rest comes. So you have to be a people person. If you're just here to push hard sales, I don't think you're going to succeed. If you genuinely love people and property and building relationships, the success is a byproduct.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. You make me, I'm going totally off topic, but we watch a lot of Modern Family, and I don't know if you've watched Modern Family, and Phil Dunphy, he's a real estate agent, he's the dad. And I mean, we just laugh at him all the time. He is just hilarious. I don't know if he gives estate agents a good or a bad name. I haven't yet decided, but he is definitely entertaining. So he just,
he is. Modern Family's great. Check out, there's a listing Josie. It's based on, like $1 Million Agent in the States.
yeah.
Those like brokers on the phone and blah, blah, blah. Well, one of our franchise owners, his name's Graham Deirdricks. He's actually the star of the show, one of the stars.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's called Listing Joe's. It's going to be on Netflix.
Yes.
And you learn the inside out of being an estate agent and managing relationships and expectations and properties. So look out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Definitely. I love that. Okay, cool. So that's a good one. So if you want to get into real estate, that's definitely a first step. Watch that show. Oh, that's classic. So just to kind of finish off, I just wanted to ask you, in terms of, setting boundaries. So it's always a tricky one, especially for someone who ebbs and flows in terms of so you've got a goal, you go out, you achieve, but it does come within ebbs and flows. How do you set boundaries for yourself in order to manage, work, life, kids, all of that kind of thing? Do you have them or don't you?
I have them now. I have them and they're amazing. So for anyone that's considering putting boundaries in place, gosh, it's key. So, I mean, I'm third generational real estate. So
Right.
my granny was Aida Geffen and had Aida, and it's still going. And my father's Lou Geffen, and he had Lou Geffen Estates, and then it became Lou Geffen Sotheby's International Realty. So when you're in a family business, let me tell you, there are no boundaries. You'll be on holiday and all of a sudden you're talking about business. There's never a break, never a break. And it's unfortunate for most family businesses.
Yeah.
So what I think has been tremendously helpful for me was COVID, in the sense that kid at home, online, work, this, and unless you develop boundaries, you're actually going to go stark raving nuts.
Yeah.
You're going to go stark raving nuts. So I drew a line in the sand. And also, the older generation has a very different way of working. Like my father would say to me previously, I haven't seen you in the office today much. Do you think it has a bad perception on the staff? And I said, there's such a thing as remote working. And he couldn't understand it. And now he's all about it. He says, I've never been more productive. I can't believe it. Going to work was such a waste of time. And I said, what have I been telling you for years? So it's a different culture. Yeah, I think once I developed some authentic confidence on my end, I've established rules. I say to my mom and dad are in the business. They are my father's the chairman and my mother's an executive director.
Awesome.
And I say no work calls after 5. On weekends, when I see you, I'm your daughter and you see your grandchild, and that's it. There's no work discussion, to the point where I've actually left if they bring it up. If they go there, I'm like, okay, have a lovely day. I'm off. And you have to follow through. Same with kids, consequences. My goodness. And it was hard for me because I'm a very easygoing, kind of go with the flow mom. And with COVID, I was just like, no, I can't. So eventually, there's consequences and you have to follow through with the consequences if you really want to be a good parent. And the biggest learning for me is I'm not here to be my child's friend. I'm here to make them the most amazing human being for society, and independent and happy. And, and I think that's where most parents go wrong. So boundaries are great. It took me a very long time to establish them. And once I've established them, I'm like, why didn't I do this 20 years ago? I would have been so much happier. But it's such a gift to yourself and to others, because you actually can't, if you're running on empty, you can't be anything for anyone, your work, your family, and it's a horrible space to be in. So boundaries are key.
I couldn't agree more. I also, and that thing of realizing you're not there to be your child's friend is a huge thing as a mom. And I had watched, what was that great show? It looks like I watch a lot of TV, doesn't it? But
oh my gosh, don't even get me started. I've never had, I binge on Netflix. That's how I escape. I watch seasons. I'm now into Downton Abbey. I only really discovered it now, and I'm on season 3. And listen, I can go through 12 episodes in a row and do a marathon. So I'm with you. I'm with you there.
Yeah. So I think the one I was thinking of was The Good Wife. And I remember her walking into her, yeah, she's great, walking into her son's room, and she couldn't, and he was doing something on the computer, and she just, you know, that mother spider sense, and she just knew something dodgy was going on. And she said, right, this is how this works. And she took the computer and she put it in the middle of the lounge. And she said, from now on, you work here. And he was like, Mom, no, 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 no. And she was like, I'm parenting. This is how it rolls here. And I was like, actually, that's it. You're here to parent, not to mate up. You know, like, we're not Chinas. So
no, unless your child at times says to you, I hate you, you're actually not doing a good job. And I had to get comfortable with that, because the first time he ever said, I hate you, I don't want you to be my mommy, he was like 3. And I said, boy, I love you. And I'll always love you. Right now, I don't like you very much, and you are going to go through times where you don't like me, but I'm sure the love will always be there, you know?
yes.
And yeah, it's so important. And I know that episode you're talking about with The Good Wife. I do.
Yeah.
You know, like my friends, like, I want TikTok. I'm like, absolutely not.
No.
But my friends want it. I don't care. But why? Because I'm not a good mommy if I allow you TikTok. And then I explained, do you know what happened on TikTok? There's some awful videos. There's some damaging. And as long as you explain to them why, you know, and reason, rather than I'm the boss of this house and you listen to me. I don't believe in that.
How we were raised, you know, I'm your father. That's it. You know, that's how it is.
Change me. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a tricky one, but a nice one. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So Yael, I am afraid we've run out of time. I could probably chat to you for 100 years. How do people get hold of you? I'm assuming obviously through the real estate business, you know, there's your website and all of that, and they can get hold of you or your agents in that way. In terms of your speaker engagements, I'm sure if people wanted to have you come and do your talk.
Yeah, so the real estate side, our brand's real estate website is www.sotheby'srealty.co.za.
Right.
And you can find me on LinkedIn, Yael Geffen, Yael, last name Geffen. And I'm currently, you know, I'm quite behind in terms of self-promotion. So I'm actually developing a little microsite for myself now that I'm doing all the speaking stuff and the coaching, but I'm quite active on LinkedIn. Right. And you'll find me on LinkedIn, and I'm also on Facebook under Yael Geffen.
Brilliant. Okay, that's super great. Thank you very much. It's been amazing to have you, and yeah, wishing you all the best to end off this crazy year on a high.
Thank you. It's been so energizing talking to you, and I've only had 2 hours sleep, and after this I'm like ready to go. So thank you for your energy and your positivity and your beautiful smile. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the I Work For Me podcast. I hope you enjoyed this interview and that you feel inspired to take your idea and business to the next level, not only for yourself, but for fellow South Africans too. Please listen in weekly for interviews with more interviews with South Africa's most inspiring people, and connect with me on Facebook or Instagram at Melina Lewis Author, or on YouTube at Melina Lewis, or if you don't mind, consider supporting the show for a few rand a month by finding me on Patreon at Melina Lewis. Have a great week and namaste.